St. George's businessman who is once again claiming the closure of the facility could bring an end to his only source of income. What was supposed to be a rally of sorts at the swing bridge in St. George's, aimed at convincing government why it was necessary to keep the facility open, turned into a one-man effort last Saturday, with tollbooth operator Jerry Correa being the only person to turn up, and once again lamenting that the closure of the bridge could mean the end of the business which he's operated for the past 20 years. He fears the closure of the swing bridge may be as temporary as the closure of the Longbird Bridge.
Again, we were told that the bridge needed maintenance and all of that, and we agreed that it did, and they said that they would close it, repair it, and then we would see it open again. As we are now knowing, there are 2 Bailey bridges alongside, and it's temporarily, permanently closed.
The tollbooth operator contends the decision by government to keep the bridge closed in order to effect repairs and reduce spending, although unintentional, only heightens a growing threat to businesses in the former capital, a threat which he says in his case began with the end of cruise ship visits.
I saw the first ships come into St. George's, the Majesty, and then the rotation of the other ships from Hamilton into St. George's, and during that period of time, we were averaging about 15 trips a week. And obviously I was paying my bills back then and enjoying a good charter business. Again, something else takes place here in St. George's. The ships stop coming in. In doing so, my trips now are probably 3 trips a week if I'm lucky.
Mr. Correa hopeful that Mother Nature will be kind to him this visitor season, and also that there is still a chance that a compromise can be reached and the bridge kept open.
With the bridge now closed, any easterly heavy winds, I am now contained to the St. George's Harbor. For a 3-hour trip, I'm sure you would not want to sit on a boat and look at the same places for 3 hours. So it is obviously very, very important that this bridge stays open. With that said, I agree that maintenance is necessary for the bridge, but I don't understand why they cannot wait till the winter to do that.
But it appears that the businessman will not get his wish for a compromise, as there will be no turning back on the decision to close that bridge. Public Works Minister Patricia Gordon-Pamping telling us delaying the closure for necessary repair work poses too great a risk.
Well, as much as I would like it to, I don't think it's possible. The reason is that the bridge has not been effectively serviced for a couple of years, so the maintenance is well overdue. One of the challenges and the concerns is that the bridge may very well be left to be open for access and egress. However, we run the risk of the possibility of it not being able to close, in which case we would actually have a larger problem with people being stuck on either side of the bridge. So I think that we have to err on the side of caution and to ensure that proper access by road is able to be had throughout the summer. Certainly, I'm tremendously sympathetic to the inconvenience of the boat operators and the tour operators. That gives me cause for concern. I do regret that the maintenance is as delayed as it has been, but with that said, I would rather be sure that it is properly done and that boats can ultimately come and go without a problem, and that traffic can also continue to flow effectively.
Sources at the Ministry of Public Works have informed us that the bridge is able to open and close, able to function normally, and in fact has been open on at least 3 occasions so far this year.
Yes, it's not totally broken. It can open and close, but at every time it opens, we run the risk of it not closing back. And I think that you cannot operate a railroad like that. You have to have a certain amount of certainty, and I think that to open a bridge and then wonder whether this is going to be the time that it's going to break down, that's not the way to operate. So I think I would rather have the maintenance done and completed and make sure that there are minimal challenges to the opening and closing of the structure.
And staying in the East End, St. George's North Member of Parliament Kenneth Bascom is breaking his silence over his position on the future of the St. David's Urgent Care Centre. You'll recall Mr. Bascom was heavily criticised last week by an opposition MP, Zane De Silva, who says the public and residents of the East End had not heard a peep out of Mr. Bascom on whether or not he supports the government's move to close it. Gerard Trott tells us more.
Because we need to do so.
Contrary to his critics, St. George's North MP Kenneth Bascom insists his views on current events doesn't necessarily need to be broadcast, specifically where it concerns the Urgent Care Centre.
I don't need to be speaking publicly about things discussed within caucus. My constituents are aware of my thoughts, my beliefs when it comes to the urgent care facility, and I'll make this point. I believe that it's a convenient care facility, and I make that point because people say they come all the way from the West End. So if you needed urgent care, would you believe that those people would bypass King Edward to come to this facility? And I will make this point. Should one of us have an injury occur while we're here, we would call 911. The EMTs will respond first, stabilize you, and then call for the ambulance. It is my belief that we need to have an ambulance stationed in the Eden cell, whereby the time it takes for the ambulance to arrive, you could be in the hospital.
Right, well, that's what the urgent care center was for. They have ambulance personnel.
Well, my point is this. There's no ambulance station in St. George. That facility is actually run in conjunction with the 3 physicians that are stationed in St. George. When they close their facilities at 4 o'clock, that facility is then open.
So are you in favor of the urgent care center remaining in St. George's open?
I would not have any problems with it closing because I believe that we need to have an ambulance more than that particular facility.
Confronted with the fact that many in the East End appear to favor the urgent care center remaining open in light of a petition containing thousands of signatures, Mr. Bascom hits back.
But I would say to you, we need to do a forensic analyzation of the signatures and see how many of them are other than one person. And I'm going to say again that an ambulance in St. George, in my own opinion, would be more advantageous than having that convenient care facility.
You're questioning the authenticity of the petitions.
Of course, because I know for a fact that more than, so let's say 100, 200 people who signed it twice or 3 times.
Tarai Trott reporting for ZBM News 9.
And a warning that could negatively impact this country's already struggling tourism industry, as U.S. citizens are urged